Are you at least 10 years old and don't have a present father figure in life? Good. That means you're now the most qualified person to become a Pokemon champion. But wait, how did we even get here? We started our journey in Lavender Town in the Kanto region, which is inspired by the real-life region in Japan by the same name, where we, the player character, can name ourselves a plethora of things, such as Red, Ash, God, or we use our own name, for example. We also get to meet and name our rival character. We can name him things such as Blue, Gary, or, in my case, my rival's name is the YouTube algorithm. We then meet up with his grandpa, the Pokemon professor known as Oak, which, you know, they're all named after trees, haha. And then we get to make the most important decision of our lives, deciding on our very first Pokemon. And according to a poll on Twitter where only 5 people voted, follow me, the first Pokemon is Rhydon. I'd make the joke we're all thinking about, but at that point it would just be low-hanging fruit. Almost as low as these nuts. So we take our Bulbasaur or Pikachu from playing Pokemon Yellow through Route 1, end up in Viridian City, where a tired old man teaches us how to throw our hands and our balls at unsuspecting Weedle. Or Rattata in Pokemon Yellow. Why is Pokemon Yellow making this weird? Now that the old man is woke. We can go through Viridian Forest, where we can find the mascot of the Pokemon anime, Ryan Reynolds, as Pikachu, and a bunch of bugs. Once you escape the infestation that is the Viridian Forest, we make it to Pewter City, where we fight the first gym leader. Now, what are gym leaders, you may be asking? Seeing as this is a For Dummies video, where we go over all the important facts and lore of a game series, gym leaders are the way the games keep you from speedrunning the main story, as in order to become Pokemon champion, you first need to get 8 gym badges, and you get these gym badges by beating the gym leaders in a Pokemon battle. For example, the gym leader in Pewter City is Brock. Now Brock is both rock hard with his Pokemon and rock hard with his body. Did you guys write that down? Okay, good. For a second I thought it was just background noise while we were doing something else, but it's good to know you guys are paying attention. After beating up Brock easily, because we didn't choose Charmander, this is how we segue into how type matchups work. But Pokemon types don't have anything to do with lore. Yes, they do actually. Every single Pokemon has a type that makes them both stronger and weaker against another type of Pokemon. Think of it as the most complicated version of rock, paper, scissors ever, but for nerds, as most Pokemon actually have up to 2 different types, like our Bulbasaur, who is both a grass and poison type Pokemon. That makes the type matchup chart even more confusing, so that even a college student will get lost and want to cry. That college student is also me. As you move towards the next city through Mount Moon, you notice a strange fellow in an all-black uniform harassing a scientist around some fossils. This is your first official encounter with Team Rocket. Team Rocket is a criminal organization that has a full list of crimes that include Pokemon theft, Pokemon loitering, using Zubats for like half the fights. I don't know why they do that. You being the 11-year-old you are, have to stop this entire Pokemon mafia by yourself because the police force are too busy being the same person. You defeat this grunt with your overgrown Brussels sprout and are given the most important choice of your life. Which fossil do you choose? Fossils are a neat part of every game where you can actually revive these ancient Pokemon to join your party. Here, we decide between the holy power that is the Helix fossil, which is a popular meme from Twitch Plays Pokemon. If you don't know what that is, please watch this video in the description. But for this video, I have an actual lore piece that might involve the other Pokemon of the Dome fossil, so apologies Lord Helix, for I have sinned. Now that we're done talking about rocks, let's talk about water since we're in Vermilion City. But first, Bill's house. Who is Bill? This is Bill. What does Bill do? Well, Bill created the PC storage system that you use to store all your Pokemon that we don't care about at the moment. And he also turned himself into a Pokemon. Which is insane, by the way. It has so many implications that I will not get into today. We turn him back into a disgusting human, and in thanks, he gives us the SS Ann ticket, which you can ride the boat all the way to Vermilion City after we beat up Misty with our superior starter that once again, Charmander is weak against. Now that we're on the SS Ann, we need to do 2 very important things. First thing we need to do is fight our rival and probably kill his Raticate. We're not too sure about that one. But the next thing we need to do is rub the captain's back because he got seasick. which is concerning as he's the captain of the ship, but whatever. He gives us our very first HM in thanks. But what is an HM? To keep it simple, HMs and their counterparts TMs are the ways you can teach moves to your Pokemon outside of battle. However, HMs are special and they can be used for overall abilities, such as flying, surfing, and in this case, cutting down a tiny bush in the most anime of fashions. Now that we're in Vermilion City and have learned the ability to cut down tiny trees in our way, we can meet up with Vermilion City's gym leader, Lieutenant Surge, who gives us our first little piece of lore. He mentions upon first conversation that electric-type Pokemon saved him during the war. Yes, you heard that right, there are canonical wars in Pokemon. What kind of wars, you may be asking? We're not too sure, they didn't give us a lot of details on that. So we'll have to wait until the Gen 2 video to talk about Pokemon wars, only if this video does well in the first place. I don't know how that got here. Now that we're done beating up war veterans, we can go to Celadon City to do my favorite thing in any Pokemon game. Underage gambling! And to also beat up Erica. Go back to gambling, and Team Rocket's up to hijinks again, where after further investigation, we learn about the level 100 Mafia boss and Team Rocket's leader, Giovanni. We beat him as he can't handle the pressure that an 11-year-old and a walking cabbage have, and drops us the Cell Scope that we used to go into Pokemon Tower in Lavender Town. This is where we get into actual lore. Pokemon Tower is a graveyard for recent departed Pokemon that you might have passed through on your journey to gain the Cell Scopes, as if you go to the tower without them, you'll find out that ghosts are real. And these ghosts are sometimes just Pokemon. And these ghost Pokemon are just human souls half the time. Pokemon lore is weird. Near the top of Pokemon Tower, you encounter the big bad ghost, and after using the Cell Scope, you find out that it's actually a ghost of a Marowak that Team Rocket killed during one of their poaching sessions. So let's just add that to the crime list while we're at it. We find out after beating it that it's actually the mother of a now orphaned Cubone.
Huh?
We just beat up the soul of an orphan's mom. Thankfully, it's the same Cubone that enters the tower and can rest Marowak's spirits to let us enter the top of the tower, where we can find Mr. Fuji being held hostage by Team Rocket. Or more specifically, Jesse and James in Pokemon Yellow. We need to talk about something. There are a lot of stories about Pokemon, and a lot of different ways these stories can be told. For example, there's the game series we're going over right now, the book and manga series, the anime TV series, the anime movies, twice. Each one has their own plot, canon, lore, and ideas that can be shared under one giant Pokemon roof, which is why we get popular characters like Jesse and James in the anime into games like Pokemon Yellow, and later the Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee games. It's mostly the anime and anime movies that like to share concepts and story from each other from the games, so I'll be sure to clarify if that's ever brought up again, but for now, let's end this multiversal tangent by throwing our seizure salad of a Pokemon at Team Rocket, or Jesse and James in this case, to save Mr. Fuji.
Stop right there!
Mr. Fuji is also important to lore. Not only does Mr. Fuji volunteer at the Pokemon House to help out with abandoned orphan Pokemon, like the Cubone we met at Pokemon Tower, by the way, so sorry for what happened, if you need to come to therapy with me, he also was something of a scientist back in the day. Dr. Fuji worked very closely with a bunch of other scientists on a secret project enabled by Team Rocket. However, in this case, all he does now is give us the Poke Flute. With our new flute, we can play the sickest beat to make the mascot Pokemon sleep move and go nap with the fishes nearby. Because it can learn surf. After dropping our mixtape, we make it to Fuchsia City, and the only thing you need to know about Fuchsia City is that the poison gym leader Koga is a ninja and was later replaced by his daughter Janine as he got old. And the Safari Zone is here too, and we get to surf and strength and fly, but yeah, Fuchsia City's kinda boring. Oh hey look, another Snorlax. You know what that means. We're going to Saffron City. The top Team Rockets on the team with the entire team themselves are now forcing their child with a talking plant to the city because Blue can't do anything about it. Oh hey look, karate class. The dojo actually has its own lore piece. See, it was going to be a gym until the gym next door said, hey buddy, nice gym you got there. Would be a real shame if we had the type chart in our favor. Die. After earning our black belt in Pokemon for Dummies, we earned our reward of one of two Pokemon to join our party. Jackie Chan or Bruce Lee? Oh, sorry, I meant Hitmonchan and Hitmonlee. Using the sick karate skills you learned from the dojo, we go and beat up Team Rocket and fight Giovanni again, who is now threatening a level 20 CEO by obtaining the Master Ball, a Pokeball that will catch any Pokemon without failure, even legendaries. Thankfully, we have mastered the art of throwing our McDonald's veggie burger at him until he submits defeat. And in thanks, the CEO gives an 11-year-old the power to capture God. So we'll go ahead and use it on a Pidgey. After saving Saffron City, we can now go challenge the gym leader Sabrina, who is both hot and knows it.
Huh?
Because she clean minds. Probably.
Watch this!
In order to challenge the next gym leader Blaine, we need to surf all the way to the Seafoam Islands, and thankfully our Bulbasaur is great at surfing. Sorry, I am now getting a very conveniently timed phone call that I'm going to be recording. Hello? Bulbasaur can't learn surf? Okay, what about Hitmonchan? Okay, I see your point. It would be harder than the boxing gloves. I have an idea. We end up on Cinnabar Island, where old man Blaine is old and only has one joke about burn heels that he probably tells his grandkids when he's not busy being the fire-type gym leader. However, it's after you beat him, with our Snorlax because our falafel frog doesn't like fire, that we get the most amount of lore in the game. There's a photo in Blaine's gym where it's described as a picture of Blaine and Mr. Fuji standing shoulder to shoulder with big grins. So they are both friends, and they were also both scientists. Well, on the same island, there's Cinnabar Lab, where you can revive fossil Pokemon like our good friend Kabuto that we got in the beginning of the game. So a lab that has the ability to bring back fossils and likely replicate and create DNA. And then there's the Pokemon Mansion. This is where we get some of the most important lore in the entire Pokemon franchise, the discovery and story of Mew. Mew is a mythical Pokemon, which the only difference from a legendary Pokemon is that you get them from events such as online distributions or by going to a GameStop, which is still kinda dumb to me as I would never go to a GameStop in public to get a funky cat in my game. But Mew isn't just confusing to get, its existence is still a mystery to many, as it has the innate ability to make itself invisible. In the Pokemon Mansion, you find notes lying around, and these notes are all about Mew and the creation of something else. Mew was first reportedly found in the South African state of Ghana and has the DNA of every single Pokemon in existence, being considered the first ancestor of all Pokemon. This also makes it capable of learning every single TM and HM in the games. This caught the interest of Team Rocket, and especially Giovanni. Back when he was only a level 99 mob boss, he sent a team to Ghana. Yes, once again, the actual IRL state of Ghana is a real thing in the Pokemon world, to search for any remnants or fossils of the ancient Pokemon. And according to the first Pokemon movie, which gave the full canon details of the story despite being a movie, they found a fossil of an eyelash from Mew. I have one problem with this. Mew does not have eyelashes. Not in any of its art, not in any of its sprites, not even in the ancient Mew Pokemon trading card. This thing has eyelashes. This is a hairless cat. How did they find this? Upon further research, we're going to move on and pretend that this never happened. Cool? Cool. This is when Giovanni hires a group of scientists, including our good friend Dr. Fuji. See, Dr. Fuji was working on and researching on cloning technology, which was the perfect opportunity for Giovanni to step in. They spend weeks trying to create a Pokemon from Mew's DNA. Throughout this process, many Ditto were born as failed experiments of Mew. Although not yet confirmed by Game Freak, we can be very confident in this idea, as Ditto is not only a Pokemon that shows up in the mansion, but also has the same weight, same colors, as well as the ability to naturally transform. It wasn't until 1 month after the original finding of the fossil that they did it. They created the strongest Pokemon in the world, Mewtwo. Which is a little incorrect nowadays, but for now, Mewtwo is the strongest. Mewtwo was raised in a lab and was able to use its 200 IQ to learn about the world and its purpose in it. Upon realizing his purpose was to be used by humans, he retaliated and escaped. Before we get into more details about Mewtwo's story, we need to pay a visit back to Viridian City, as our Italian mob boss sense was tingling. Hey. Now that we're back in Viridian City, you notice one thing. The Viridian City gym is now open. We enter the gym and realize that the 8th gym leader, before we challenge the Elite Four, is actually Giovanni himself. Thankfully, with the power of our Serving Snorlax and Marketable Onion plushie, we take him down for the final time. And he mentions that with his loss, Team Rocket will be disbanded and will never come back. Something tells me that they'll be back, but hey look, we have 8 gym badges now. Let's go to the Elite Four now. The Pokemon League, where only the best of the best trainers can come and compete. After going through Victory Road, we end up at the gates of the league and are ready to challenge the Elite Four, the best trainers in Kanto, before we are crowned champion.
Get ready!
First, we fight Lorelei, who is hot even though she uses ice types. Then Bruno, who is Bruno.
Huh?
Then Agatha, who is the creepy ghost grandma. And finally, Lance, who in Gen 1 has 2 Dragonair that should have been Dragonites and 2 Pokemon that aren't even dragons. Personally, I cannot wait to see his team in the next game because surely it'll make more sense. Right? After we defeat them all, we can take the final steps to become champion. Once we beat our rival for the final time because he became champion literal seconds before us.
Can't escape from crossing fate. Fight!
Good jump! You disgust me, fat man! Double KO!
After beating him, Professor Oak comes and congratulates us and tells us to put our team in the Fame Checker as we are now Pokemon champions. But there is still plenty of lore to talk about. With our champion name known across Kanto, we can now freely explore the entire region as well as any areas we have not fully explored yet. A great example of this would be finding out about the legendary bird trio. Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres are the legendary trio of the Gen 1 games, and they are the friends of Lugia, the servants of Lugia, the children of Lugia? I'll be honest with you, I have no idea the relationship with Lugia. Well, we don't even talk about Lugia until Gen 2, so by the time I make that video, I think I'll have it figured out. For now, let's go actually find the birds. We can find them all across the region, such as Articuno in the Seafoam Islands, Zapdos in the power plant on Route 10, and Moltres to Mount Ember. Interestingly enough though, in Pokemon Snap Evolve games, each of these birds actually come out of an egg, which is weird considering most legendaries can't even breed. So maybe they are Lugia's kids, but I don't know, I'll figure that out later once again. Now that we're done talking about birds, let's end the video by talking about Mewtwo. We left off with Mewtwo escaping the lab he was born in, but see Giovanni actually tracked him down to then convince Mewtwo to come back to the lab, and was given the coolest suit of armor ever. Like, both the original and the new armor designs are so cool looking. Besides me fanboying over cool armor, in the movies after having to defend itself against Ash's one punch of death, and pretty much killing him, the original Mew comes up and is like, and Mewtwo said in response, "Oh my god bro, you're so right, I can be a good Pokemon, I'm going to undo all the bad things I ever did and chill out in a cave now, bye." we can now find Mewtwo chilling out in Cerulean Cave, where funnily enough, we can also find more Ditto. It's deep, deep within Cerulean Cave that we find him, our final battle with Mewtwo. And we immediately throw our Master Ball at him because I do not want to deal with fighting that thing.
Huh?
I forgot we used it on Pidgey. Thankfully, I'll just have to reset back to my last save, get a new Master Ball, and use it on him instead. This is so stupid.